storm. How was the journey?
Yeah, it was literally a roller coaster going up and down in the flight last night, but we did make it here. And look, it's great to be here. I think you get the buzz of what's around the corner. And we'll be quickly back tonight, though, I hope, because we've got training sessions and some meetings tonight and training session the next 2 days.
Now, you've named co-captains for the Six Nations in Rory and Finn. Can you please just talk to us a bit about that decision and why you felt that they were the right men for the job?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, they're excellent players. So they're going to be a big part of our team throughout this tournament. They both had opportunities to captain in the warm-up test of the World Cup, and they thrived with that responsibility in those two games. Co-captaincy is a bit different, but we feel that it grows our leadership, shares that leadership load between those two and other leaders we have in our squad. And also we feel they complement each other really well. Finn is the player who drives our attack, who has a lot of experience in Test match rugby. Rory is a younger player, has captained his country under 20 level, but someone who leads by example in the physical side of it, his defence, his ball carrying, putting his body on the line. So yeah, we believe that can inspire others in our team, but also allow them to grow as leaders in a different way than just being an outright captain.
Okay, thank you for your thoughts on that. We're looking ahead to this new tournament, obviously lots of excitement building. I wonder, how do you as a side build on what you achieved at the last Six Nations whilst also drawing a line under the World Cup and I guess looking ahead to a new year and a new challenge?
Yeah, that is the challenge for us, because we did have a really good 2023 in terms of the rugby we aspired to play and trained, and how we transferred that into a lot of our games, not all of our games. But also we had a failure. We had a failure in the World Cup and not playing our best rugby when it counted against Ireland. So we have to make sure we learn from that. But I believe it's part of the growth of a team, that you build on the things you do well, you learn or have to change on when things didn't go as well. But you've got to be better for both experiences, and the proof will be over the next few weeks if that's the case.
Gregor, when we talk about Scotland and Six Nations, we know you guys have the capability to shock anyone, to beat anyone, but it's that consistency of actually challenging for the title, isn't it, that's eluded you. Do you feel with this refocus now, that the co-captains, this could be the year where Scotland put in a good challenge for Six Nations?
Yeah, you've got to feel that going into every Six Nations. There's got to be an optimism with how I coach and lead, but also with our players, that we believe we can do it. Last year was a great start. We won our first two games. We came very close to winning out in Paris, which would have been an amazing achievement, given that we were well behind the scoreboard and we're a man down. And we were competitive up to a point against Ireland, but we know we didn't win those two games, and we also know that the games we won, they're going to be as challenging this season as they were last season. So it makes it a really good tournament, that you've got some of the top teams in the world, you've got different environments, home and away games that make it more challenging, and you've got to back it up. Like 5 games in 7 weeks at this level is tough. You've got to rely on a big squad. You've got to make sure you recover from game to game, and bring as close to your best as you can. And on those days where you don't bring your best, make sure you find a way to win.
And obviously you've kept Jamie in the squad, but taken the captaincy role away from him. What has he done wrong, or what's the kind of rationale behind that?
No, look, he hasn't really done nothing wrong as a captain. He's been a very good captain for us, and 2023 was a really good year for us for most of the games we played, and Jamie led the team on those games. It's really the competition in the back row, competition that started to emerge during the World Cup, but the form of some of our players since the World Cup has meant that Jamie's got a challenge on his hands to be in that starting team. We hope this now brings the best out of him, focusing on just trying to get into that starting team, and he'll still be a key leader for us if he is in that squad.
Just finally, obviously you guys will have an idea going in. You mentioned consistency has not really been there potentially in the last few years. What does success look like for you guys going into this tournament?
Success is bringing out as best a game you can week to week. And no one plays 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 every game, but not dropping below a 7 out of 10. I think if we can produce that 7 to 9 out of 10 performance over the 7 weeks, then we will be competitive. We will take teams on and deliver the results that we believe we're capable of. And that's all we can ask for our players. Like, it's unrealistic to say we're going to produce our best game every single week. But that's the great thing about sport. Like, you don't know how a game's going to transpire. Like, teams can play really well and force you into doing something different, to adapting. And at times we haven't done that as well, but also we've learned from those experiences, and now we've got to put that into these 5 games coming up.
Thank you very
Just
much.
wondered quickly, Greg.
Sure.
Are you, after a World Cup year, are you expecting, the Irelands, the Frances, the Englands to be at full tilt in this tournament, or is it going to be one of those years where we might see someone like Scotland come through and?
Oh, who knows? But everyone will be at full tilt. Like, the Six Nations is so important to each of us as countries. Like, the World Cup does happen once every 4 years, but the Six Nations is our most important tournament normally. And you can't take your eye off the ball. Right? The quality of teams now in the Northern Hemisphere has improved a huge amount in the last 5-10 years. Like, Ireland and France have been jostling around number 1 in the world for the last couple of seasons. You've got Wales, who have won Grand Slams in the past, obviously England with their depth and their strength, and Italy, who have really improved over the last season or two. So it's going to be, I believe, the most competitive Six Nations we've ever had. So yeah, no one's going to take their foot off the gas this next few weeks.
Thank you.